So you'll notice in there that most of those fields actually come from AD. As I was mentioning before, the user profile extends AD, right? But SharePoint needs a set of other properties to display in various places, things like your favorite sites and things like that.
G'day guys, Adam Cogan here from SSW, and I am here with John Thirion. How are you, John?
Pretty good, Adam. How are you?
I am good. What are we talking about?
Today we're going to talk about skills and people and how to find the right people with the right skills on all different tools.
Right. Okay. So if you go to the About Us part, you will see that we have a bunch of people that work for us. And they can do certain things. And we have a bunch of things that we can do. And this is not dissimilar to a lot of companies that have to match skills and people. So first I'd like to talk about how we do it and the way we solved it, which is similar to a lot of companies, and then the SharePoint way.
Yeah.
All right. So we made this site. So tell us about this site.
Yeah. So this is a pretty standard static site, and it shows the different people from the different locations we've got. And on the side, you can see also a filter, so you can select the technology you want. For instance, if you pick Angular, this is going to filter the people by the Angular skill, showing us only the people with Angular. You can pick multiple skills at once if you want to do an end filter, so people with Angular and
Azure DevOps.
For instance. So this is a GitHub. The source code, is on GitHub.
Yes, it is. There we go.
Yeah, SSW Consulting. So if you want to have a look and even push a PR if you want, we're happy to do that.
But what is it driven by?
This is actually driven by our CRM. So we've got a Dynamics 365 CRM with the skills attached to the people. And when we generate those pages, we read the data from CRM and generate the page.
Okay, so we'll have a look at that in a sec. But this is our public side. Yeah. What about when we're searching internally? What do we do there?
So when we look internally to book people, for instance, we've got this booked in day report in Power BI. This is driven by the exact same data. This is reading from Dynamics 365 skills. We have the same sort of feature with a filter at the bottom left. So you can pick a technology. So if you pick Angular, same thing, it's going to filter the view on the people with Angular skills.
So that is fantastic. Let's talk about the data that drives that. That is from CRM and Dynamics 365. And then you go into one of these guys, such as myself, and then you can see the user skills that are there. Yep. Okay. So I would now want to talk about one of your favorite things, which is SharePoint. So let's talk about the search in SharePoint.
Yep. So my favorite place in the world is our internet. You know that. Shell of SharePoint. So in the global search in SharePoint, you can type things and look for documents or sites or people about that. So if you type Angular, for instance, yeah, you'll get a bunch of results, and you can use verticals, so files, sites, people, whatever, to find the relevant things with this keyword Angular. But if you go to people, you'll notice something interesting. You'll notice that SharePoint is going to look for people that have an Angular skill in their profile. But where is this profile coming from? Well, these values are not coming from CRM. They're coming from a different brick. They're coming from the user profile service.
Did you say brick?
Yes, I said brick. As in a brick, as in a Lego brick. You've got the
Lego brick.
You've got the AD, you've got SharePoint, and that's something that plugs on top of SharePoint and extends the properties from AD.
Okay, so you have AD and you have an extra module.
Yep.
It's been renamed to brick, and then that's called User Profile Service.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful. So you know what I'd like to do when you search here? I would prefer if I had a piece of UI that I could say, just switch over to people or switch over to the booked in days. But never mind. Can you do that?
No, not currently.
Right.
Not with the current version, no.
No. All right. So John has a whole series of videos on how to dive into what he's talking about down this page. There's a few videos. But I also just want to call out, because not a lot of people know this, but if you're looking for Angular, like we just said, we can search internally as well by clicking on the Work tab, and that will come up with people that have Angular, and that's essentially the same type of thing.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Directly from Bing.
Yes. And I could actually even type for you, and I can find it that way as well, and that will come up with your page. Okay, so let's talk about if I wanted to get all this data right and your skills. So this C profile page,
yep.
This is essentially this page, which is your Delve. Now, what is Delve?
So yeah, as I was mentioning, the skills that are attached to my profile don't come from CRM. They come from this user profile stuff. And Delve is reading that user profile and give that to you through this UI. So you can go on this Delve page, look for your profile, click the view profile or edit profile when it's yours, and you can edit your skills there. But so that's stored in the user profile brick or module if you prefer.
And can I update other people's skills and expertise?
You cannot, unless you're an admin. So
You
if
can
you
or cannot?
You cannot. If
Okay.
you're a regular user, you can only edit your profile. But if you're an admin, you can go to the back end of this user profile and edit other people's.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So I'm here. How do I go to the back end?
So if you click on the app launcher, this little
Yes.
thing there,
And then what?
so then you can select the admin. So that will take you to the Office 365 admin center.
Beautiful. And now what do I do when I'm on here?
So from there, you can click the Show All button on the menu,
Yes.
and it'll show you all the admin centers. So you've got your Exchange, Teams, etc. The one we want is SharePoint because the user profile is part of SharePoint.
Beautiful. Okay.
From there, you got all the features of the backend SharePoint admin. So if you click More Features at the very bottom of that list, you have access to these classic features that have not yet been revamped to the modern SharePoint experience, but it's coming. So if you click Open for the user profile, you get access to the backend of the user profile service.
Right. And here, oh, right. So it is definitely the old UI. And I can, what is the number of profiles here?
So this is the number of profiles that we've got in our user profile. You'll notice that this number is much higher than the number of people that are actually currently working for SSW. And the reason is we are keeping track of old profiles as well. And why is that? Well, if you have a record somewhere in SharePoint, say a document version that reference an old person, you need to keep track of that, at least the name and
Right.
the account. So that's why we keep it
You
there.
can never really leave SSW.
I guess you cannot.
Okay. So what are these 114?
So these are the properties for each profile. Think of it as columns on your table.
Okay.
And these hold a number of things like your job title and
Okay.
your name.
So in summary, I've got 389 employees and past employees.
Yep.
And there's 114 fields. That's a lot of fields.
That's correct. Yeah.
So let's go and have a look at that. This is an example. This is all the data we have about you, John.
That's correct, yeah. So you'll notice in there that most of those fields actually come from AD. As I was mentioning before, the user profile extends AD, right? So for each record in AD, for each user, we have a profile in user profile that extends it. So most of the properties come from there, but SharePoint needs a set of other properties to display in various places, things like your favorite sites and things like that.
Right. And this is the bit that we need the same as CRM.
That's correct. That's the bit that you can update through Delve, as we showed,
Yes.
but is not yet synced with CRM.
So if you don't want to do things twice and you just want to enter it and say CRM or Salesforce and this to be always up to date, what is the story?
Well, we actually just written a rule about it. So if you go to your famous SSW rule and look for, do you know how to take advantage of extending AD? I've written a set of rules about it. And basically it takes you through the whole story about, how to use user profiles to store your skills, etc., etc. So that's basically what we just covered. And at the bottom of this rule, I've covered the bit where basically it's all scenario. We have the skills stored in CRM, but
Yes.
we want them exposed through SharePoint or through Delve. How do we do that? Well, we can use the PNP libraries to write and read to and from the user profile. So you can have, sort of a job that runs
Yes.
daily or hourly, whatever you want, that takes the information from CRM and manually syncs it to your user profile.
Right. So PowerShell to the rescue.
As usual, let's say.
Yes, okay. Now I'm going to finish off with just a couple of things that I'd love Microsoft to do. And that is, we should have a simple SharePoint connector to avoid this PowerShell glue that you've put together. We should also have the ability with SharePoint Search to not even use this, to go directly to the API that exists on Dynamics CRM or Salesforce or whatever system they have. Also, in the SharePoint Search UI, we should be able to turn this off and give a message that directs employees to the place you want to go. And finally, in Dynamics, you should be able to when you're in a module such as users, you should be able to search on Angular and it looks throughout the users and all the associated entities of Dynamics. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So that was fantastic. Thank you, John, for putting this together, and I hope this benefits plenty of other people. This is Adam Cogan signing off for SSW TV.